Good morning. And the one who is seated on the throne said, "See, I am making all things new." This is our theme verse for the year. We are so excited to welcome you to our homecoming weekend, where we will celebrate our class reunions and have events going all weekend long. They've been looping up there on the slideshow, and we have program schedules on posters posted throughout campus, and we have little tents on your tables and in the cafeteria and other places. So you have no excuses, and we also have the schedule on the website. Come to everything that you can and enjoy this homecoming weekend where we welcome our alumni and friends from all over the country. In fact, we have 20 states coming represented at homecoming this week. And we have people from Virginia and California, so coast to coast, and from Texas, and all over. We have people here who are former faculty and staff, and we have a special reunion, a 50th class reunion this year from the class of 1974, which includes our very own Michelle Miller-Sharp. And I don't see Michelle. And we have our most senior class this year is our Academy 1954. Academy means that they came to high school here. Before there was a high school in the town of Hesston, there was a high school here at the college. And so the class of 54 is celebrating their 70th class reunion. I know that we have one member, yes, I know we have one member. We have one member of the class of 74 who happens to be my dad, Spike Hostetler from Harper, Kansas. Yay. So students, we invite you to come to the events. The alumni love to meet you, so please come to all the events, check out that schedule. And now we're very excited to welcome Joshua Cross, our professor of art, and he is going to be talking about roots and branches, and he has a lovely presentation put together for you. So welcome, Josh.
Okay, this is going to be a little awkward. Is this on? Cool. I'm one of those people that if you cut my hands off, I can't speak. So if it goes in and out, that's my fault. Okay, so give me my first slide, if you could, please. Okay. Does anybody know what this is? It is trees, right? So we're gonna talk. The art professor is gonna talk about trees and connections and legacies and sharing of gifts and those sorts of things. Okay, somebody said trees. The patterning, though, do you know what that is? Do you know what that's called? Anybody?
Looks like love.
It's called canopy shyness, okay? Or cover shyness. Those trees are giving each other space so they can grow, all right? So on the edges where they really want to grow outward, if the wind blows, they rub against each other, and it kills all the little branches. So they're like, all right, I'm going to give you room and you give me room so they can grow upward, but they can't grow outward, okay? It also keeps so bugs can't jump from one tree to the other just in case they have some sort of disease, all right? So it's all about growth. That's the key thing, right? The trees have growth. We as a college, we're concerned with growth. We have our biggest freshman class this year where we have growth. Next year, we're hoping to have the same size freshman class or bigger. More growth. With growth brings issues, but growth is always good, especially when you're a little bitty school kind of like us, right? Give me my next slide. Okay, so about a year ago, give or take, we got this brainchild of an idea. We were cutting down a few trees on campus, and I asked Ben in facility, where's Ben? Ben, I saw you, there he is, Ben's over there. So I asked him, like, what are we gonna do with these things? Because usually they just end up as firewood. And he's like, well, yeah, anybody wants to come, they can just grab them. I was like, well, that's no fun. And I had seen in England this project called One Tree, where they took a 250-year-old tree, oak tree, They had to cut it down. They were putting a road through. And they invited artists of all types to come to this event. And they said, take whatever part you want. Take whatever part of this tree you want. You have 1 year to make whatever you want out of this tree. Anything. Come back in a year, and then we will celebrate the life of this one tree, okay? So we were doing 3 or 4 different trees on campus, but then we also had this shed. If you guys, Friesen Center that's here on campus, Friesen Center is named after Paul Friesen, and Paul was all about ceramics and wood carving. Those were kind of his 2 main mediums. And he started the art program back here in the mid-1950s. And when I got this job, I really wanted to meet Paul. And Paul died the day before I got here. And so I never got to meet him, but I've got to meet his family, and I've got to hear all these stories, and I got to do this scavenger hunt through his office, because he had a studio here on campus till right around COVID, right around 2020, okay? And I started to learn more about this guy, and we jived pretty well. And so I was like, what's in this shed? And Ben was like, that's all Paul's projects that he never got to. And I was like, we need those too. We need the roots, the history. We need what came before us. We need the things that have been here since before the campus has been here with all the old trees. So we invited artists, faculty, staff, friends of the university, just people. Anybody that wanted to make something, they could make something, okay? So this particular piece is done by a man named Doug King. He's not associated with the college in any way, shape, or form. He lives just outside of town. I heard him talking about, I was at the Arboretum one day, and I heard him talking about some wood carving that he did. And so I did what a normal person would do. I stalked him. I went and found him and said, hey man, what is it you do and how do you do it and do you want any of this? And he's like, I already have some of Paul's wood. He had a piece of Osage orange that he wanted to carve on for years but had never done it, and this project gave him a chance to do so. So this is a bowl that he made out of a piece of Osage orange. Give me my next slide. Lisa Longacre, who just spoke, is also an artist. She does quilts and mixed media stuff, and then she decided, I'm going to do both, using bark from the trees on campus. We had a sycamore tree that we took down, we had a locust tree, we had an oak tree, we had all these different types of pine trees. And so she was like, I think I can incorporate that in some way, shape, or form into an actual piece. And so she took her 2 loves, her 2 gifts, quilting, mixed media art, combined them together into one piece. Give me my next one. So John Murray, our head of international students and studies here on campus, he's a wood carver, okay? We have all these faculty and staff, and you guys too. I know people that take the art classes, you're like, first day, it's like, I'm not an artist, but I like to make things. You're creative, you're an artist, allow yourself to make things, okay? So he took a piece of ash. There was this funky tree in the front of campus that was, when I got here, was being held together by 2 ratchet straps. That's part of that tree. That is literally part of the history of this college. Give me my next one. Hopefully you're seeing a theme here, okay? There was a pine tree right across the back part of Yost, across from Peachy Center. There was a pine tree there. Doug King made another piece. This is what's called a live edge bowl, so it still has some of the actual bark on it, okay? So he made this one. It's a living, breathing archive of what used to be on this campus. I think there's one more. Give me my next slide. Yes, okay? So Lisa Longacre's brother, he's a wood turner, and he makes pens and all sorts of things, but he made us a selection of pens that are specifically branded Hesston College. There's also one that's Lisa's brother has Parkinson's, and so he does work for pens for Parkinson's. And so if you've never wood turned before, imagine trying to wood turn with Parkinson's, okay? It's bad enough. You shake enough if you're just normal everyday standing here, standing in front of a piece of wood spinning at you at 3,000 RPMs, okay? So to do it to that amount of detail on that scale, that's another level, okay? Do I have another one? I think it goes back to trees. No, it goes back to sidewalk chalk. You'd think I'd remember this stuff, okay? This is where you guys come in. All that stuff before, it was made by things that were here on campus. But my job as the art professor is I want to always make things that are about campus and across campus and show the creative gifts of the people on campus. Not just the people in the art classes, not just the people with degrees in art, that sort of stuff. So on Monday in formation, you guys hopefully saw something about this idea that we have. We want to do this like art mural that goes from the front of Friesen all the way to Peachy. There's a connection there. It's a branch, okay, if you're kind of following the vibe, right? Friesen used to be the art building, okay? It's named after the founder of the art program. To grow the college, when we brought in engineering, they needed way more space than the art program did. Okay, they need very specialized space. And to have to build that completely anew would have been exorbitantly expensive. So we can adjust, move, share our gifts, share our spaces, and say, we're going to put engineering in Friesen, we're going to move art out to Peachy, and give each other a space so everybody has their own space that they can grow within. You guys, I want you guys, if you would please. There are 600 pieces of chalk out in Peachy right now. Some of you have already done it, okay? Faculty, staff, students. I took one of my classes on Monday and I was like, don't even be here. Just go draw something on the sidewalk, okay? Anything. Just create. Don't worry about it being perfect. Don't worry about it being recognizable. Just create. You've done it. You've done it your entire lives. You just critique yourself too hard. Allow yourself to just make something. Play. Pretend like you're in kindergarten again and just make, okay? We have roughly 150 sidewalk blocks between the front door of Friesen, out, across by the volleyball courts, past KC, turn right, go down between Yost and KC again, and then all the way down to Peachy where the patio is. There's about 135 of them left. So between now and the end of homecoming, let it rip, okay? Get a friend, get an enemy, divide it up, get a professor, do something, anything, and see if we can make a path of creativity that just goes from one end to the other. So here's one. This was by Joel Crable, in our, one of our engineering professors. Give me my next slide. Is Serena, I think it's Muse. Hughes, Serena. Is Serena here? She signed it, or they signed it. Where? Give me who? Where? Stand up. There you go. Did you add to that this morning or yesterday? Did you add Scooby-Doo? Okay, so there you go, okay? This thing is a living, breathing thing. I rode my bike by this morning and I was like, wait a minute, something changed. And I was like, either somebody added to it, which is totally viable. You can always add to somebody else's artwork. Or, I was like, she got a wild hair, or they got a wild hair and decided, I'm gonna do something else. Okay, there should be one more and it should be back to this. Yes, okay? Space to grow, folks. If you're inclined in any way, shape, or form to be creative, space to grow. See where it can take you, okay? Okay, my job is not to solicit money from you, okay? But I'm gonna say this. All those wood pieces, they're up for auction, okay? It doesn't go to the school. I know you guys are like, finances, I'm not giving you guys money. I pay way too much in tuition the way it is. I understand, no big deal, right? It goes to the Friesen Fund. The Friesen Fund allows us to bring in new artworks for the collection. There's 130 pieces now in the Friesen collection that Paul started back in the 1950s. And they built it up and built it up. There's sculptures, there's ceramics, there's drawings, there's paintings, there's all sorts of stuff. Anything in the auction, all the proceeds go toward the Friesen Fund to bring in new pieces, to bring in lectures, to bring in workshops that you guys can participate in, okay? Like I said, I'm not saying you need to go out and do it, but Christmas is coming and mom needs a gift, okay? So, something to think about. If you're like, finances, I don't have any cash, that's fine, okay? You can provide gifts in other way, okay? Provide your time. Go to the play tonight. Come to an art opening. Go see Bel Canto. Go to a baseball game. Go to a basketball game. Provide your time as a gift to interact with something on campus, okay? And if you're like, man, I'm stretched really too thin. I got things planned from 6 a.m. till 9 p.m. and then I have to study and I have to go to bed sometime eventually. It's fine. You can't do finances. You can't do time. Use your voice. You got friends. You got family. Tell them about it. Tell them about what's going on campus. And just be like, hey, you might be interested in this. You like art. You like music. You like football. You like baseball. Whatever. When we do that, okay, when we share our gifts that way, we grow. That's the whole point of college, folks. Growing, okay? You come here, hopefully you grow between the time you step foot on campus and the time you leave. Because if you don't, we didn't do our jobs, and neither did you. That's all I got. Thank you much. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Josh. And I want to add that, you know, since we have alumni and friends back here for homecoming, that we continue to grow, and that's the goal. We grow while we're here in the college, and then, you know, our motto, start here, go everywhere. We send our alumni and friends out into the world, and we expect you to keep growing and keep on learning. So thank you so much, Josh. So I want to highlight a few things for this weekend. This afternoon we have 3 talks in Crop 120, and that will include an update from our interim president, Ross Peterson-Veach, and we will have, I'm not sure on which order, but we have engineering is first. Okay, so Dr. Joel Crable will be speaking about engineering, and he is going to have a panel of some of his students there so we can learn more about the engineering program. And then Ross will give his update. And then the last one is our Michelle Hirschberger and Nick Ladd giving a talk about biblical literature. This is why we say Biblit, because that's too hard to say. And Biblit is still required for all of our students, so they will be talking about what they teach the students and the experience that they have there. So please come to those 3 talks. And then this evening after the international dinner in the cafeteria, we will go to the volleyball game, and they will be playing Bethel College. So come on out and root for our Larks. And following that, we'll have a meet and greet for the inductees of the Hall of Fame. And at starting a little bit later at 7 is the play Antigone. I went last night. It was fabulous. So I highly recommend that you see the play. It will be tonight, tomorrow night, and Sunday. There is a matinee. So please support our theater students as well. And after both theater and volleyball, we will have a reverse Drubers run. That, for those of you who may not have discovered Drubers yet, that's the donuts in Newton. And so everybody goes on Drubers runs when they're in college. So we are bringing the donuts to campus. And so you can have donuts either after the play or after the volleyball game. And then tomorrow morning, if you get up early enough, you can come for muffins and coffee in the morning before you play disc golf in the disc golf tournament. Let's see. We have, muffins are at 8 o'clock if you're up early enough, and disc golf is at 8:30. And then we'll have class reunions. So we have our class reunions going on. And if you're not a part of a class reunion, you can enjoy other things, walk around campus, hit the bookstore. And then we have a partner luncheon tomorrow for our partners. And then tomorrow afternoon, Hall of Fame, 1:30, thank you. And that we will be inducting a couple of teams this year, some coaches and some athletes from the past who were standouts in their time. So please come to that and help celebrate them. And then we have our family festival, which will include food truck, Salted Creamery will be here with ice cream, bouncy houses, and lots of fun when we get to cheer on the flag football team they start at 6, is that right? And the family festival will be going on during that time. So please come to any and all of the events, and we will welcome you there. So I am going to close with a prayer, and then we'll have Michelle do the points. So I'm gonna close with prayer to send you off, but also to bless our meal. We have a Golden Gables luncheon in the community center for some of our reunion attendees. So I will bless the meal now and send you on your way.